Well, it's a new year, and are you thinking of buying a property in London as an expat? There are a few essential steps you're going to need to take in order to accomplish this. I'll be walking you through the buying stages you're going to need to know in order to achieve that great investment or second home in London. London's property market, particularly in the city itself, is one of compromise. For example, as an American, a £1 million budget may provide a large multi-bedroom house in many places in the States, while in London you might have to settle for 1 to 2 bedroom flat in most parts of central London. Even then, a smaller square footage will be the norm here, so if you're looking for a larger home, you'll definitely need to look well outside the city center. You'll also need to consider the fact that London properties are subject to stamp duty. This is a set tax that you have to pay on top of your property purchase price. This starts at 2% but can go up to well over 12% depending on the price of the property and how you purchase it and whether you're an overseas buyer. You can see here a table showing the different stamp duty costs of properties purchased between different pricing bands. If you're planning to buy an investment property in London as a buy-to-let, you'll be required to pay an additional 3% stamp duty surcharge on the cost, and there might be an additional surcharge as a foreign buyer. Next up, you're going to need to understand your potential ongoing costs. In London, there are a variety of different ongoing costs depending on the property you're planning to purchase. Some example of ongoing charges include service charges. When you're in a building that's shared by others, you'll be responsible to pay your proportionate share of communal upkeep. The service charge at a minimum will include the building insurance, but normally goes beyond to cover communal cleaning, porterage service, and for modern properties, amenities like gym, pool, resident cinema, etc. Then there's ground rent, which is an annual rent paid to the freeholder who owns the underlying land. This is a very British concept. If you'd like to know more, make sure to check out my video on leasehold versus freehold properties. Next up, there's council tax. This is different from borough to borough. You'll want to check the council tax for the neighborhood where you're going to consider buying, but in essence, it covers the communal services of that area, such as trash collection, police, lights, and things like that. Then you're going to have to consider a TV license, which is a required annual cost for a TV or a computer, even if you don't own a TV. Then you'll also have utilities such as water, gas, and electricity. If you're planning to be a landlord with a rental property in London, your income will be subject to income taxes. From the 2021-2022 tax year in England and Wales, you'll be taxed on earnings falling between your personal allowance shown in this table. These thresholds are currently frozen until 2026 as announced by the Chancellor in the 2021 spring budget. Next up, you're going to want to find a good mortgage advisor. If you're planning to buy a property in London and require a mortgage, you'll need a good specialist mortgage advisor to help navigate the mortgage process in the UK. Many banks won't lend to Americans as the compliance rules are really challenging, so it's important to find a specialist mortgage advisor who will be able to look through the entire market of options available to you as a foreign buyer. This will save you a lot of time and stress, as well as have somebody on your side who will be able to assist you in purchasing the property at the best rate. It's often part of our buying service to recommend clients to great mortgage advisors who will find them the right financing. Also, you might want to consider using a buying agent in London. You'll need to find someone who can help you navigate the London property market, which is uniquely different. While you can certainly do this on your own and you have to deal with multiple agents who don't really work on your behalf, you might want to consider a buying agent who can navigate the process and who will be actually working for you. As a buying agent, I shortlist properties for my overseas clients, attend viewings or preview on their behalf, as well as offer my insights and ultimately negotiate on their behalf. We also have contacts for every resource that they're going to need. I utilize my knowledge of the London neighborhood so buyers can share with me their budget, preferences, and needs, and I can recommend the best areas to look. To find out more about what an agent can do for you, make sure to check out my video on 10 things a buying agent does for you. Then next up is making an offer. Once you've reviewed the properties and selected one you'd like to purchase, you will then need to make an offer. You can do this through yourself or with your buying agent. If the offer is rejected, you'll need to make an educated decision on whether you want to increase your offer or walk away from the property. It's best to discuss your budget and take feedback from your agent as to whether the property is worth increasing the offer. After that, you need to arrange a solicitor and surveys. Once your offer is accepted, you will need to organize a solicitor and book a survey. A solicitor or conveyance attorney will handle the legal and title work around the property. They will liaise with the seller solicitor on any issues that arise. They will also submit searches to the local council to check whether there are any planning or local issues that might affect the property's value. While not a legal requirement, you'll also want to arrange a property survey, which would be carried out on the property. For Americans, this is similar to an appraisal. There are several types of surveys available, including a risk condition report. This is a basic traffic light survey and the cheapest, and it's most suitable for new builds and conventional homes in good condition. No advice or valuations provided, and this survey generally costs around £300. Then you can also have a risk home buyer report. This is suitable for conventional properties in reasonable condition. This is a much more detailed survey looking thoroughly inside and out a property. It also includes a valuation and typically might cost £500 or more. Then there is also a building or structural survey, which is the most comprehensive survey and suitable for residential properties. It's particularly good for older homes or homes that might have had or need repairs. Typically costs £800+. There will also be a requirement from your mortgage lender for a valuation survey to be carried out. They will arrange this with their own surveyor. While this usually is included in the mortgage itself, you might be charged for this depending on the mortgage you select. While you have to pay for these things as part of the purchase process, please note that your offer is not legally binding until you exchange contracts, which could be weeks or months ahead and after all the due diligence is done. So it's very much unlike the property purchase process in countries like the US, where you sit with your agent and at the time of offer, you're writing a legally binding contract. Next up, as part of the process, you might need to consider renegotiating. Once your surveys come back, and depending on what it says, it can offer you an opportunity to either consider adjusting your offer given what it's reported, or having to consider pulling out altogether. You may have also found out from the survey that there are more structural issues that you had anticipated, meaning you may need to invest further in the property more than you had budgeted. You'll want to speak with your buying agent if you have one and hear what they suggest in terms of negotiating the price at that point. If you don't have a buying agent, you'll want to consider the cost as to whether it's worth renegotiating or if you prefer to back out altogether. Once you settle these issues and your offer has been accepted, you'll need to get your mortgage through your lender and need to send a confirmation letter, which will also be sent to your solicitor. Now we're at exchange of contracts. You're in the final stages of the property purchase process. You'll receive your contract reviewed from your solicitor, who will highlight any issues, and if you're prepared to sign, then go ahead and do so. You'll want to check with your solicitor and make sure that all details are correct. Make sure you're happy with the sellers have agreed to leave in the property, and that you'll also have any queries answered at this point. At exchange of contracts, you're legally bound to purchase the property, and you'll pay 10% of the purchase price as a deposit to be held with your solicitor until completion. At completion, you will pay the remaining money owed on the purchase property as well as any fees that are now due. On completion day, the purchase price and any outstandings will be moved to the seller's solicitor. Your solicitor will arrange for the transfer of ownership with the land registry title for properties in England and Wales. They will also file the stamp duty land tax return and pay any stamp duties due. You or your contractor in the UK are now finally in a position to collect the keys, and you officially have purchased your property in the UK. I want to actually stop and stress here that this process typically will take weeks, if not months, so it's definitely something that as a foreign buyer you're going to have to be prepared for. That's another great reason why it's so important to work with a buying agent who can navigate that process from start to finish and make sure that all parties are moving forward as quickly as possible. One of the things we absolutely know is that time kills deals, and what you don't want is things to get stuck and people are not communicating properly and you get frustrated, or perhaps even your seller might get frustrated or get another offer that jeopardizes your deal. So as you can see, there are a lot of steps and legal requirements to buying a property in London. When you have someone on your side that understands the entire process, the market expectations, and negotiate on your behalf, this can make the process much smoother. If you are considering purchasing a property in London, please do get in touch, as I specialize in working with international buyers. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to check out my other videos on my YouTube channel where I share great tips and information about the London property market and living in this fabulous city. So that's Ugo Arenze with Onyx Property Team and Keller Williams. Bye for now.